What up, people? It's Nickopz here, and today I'm going to be talking about Tekken 8 and how people are starting to turn on the game. So, there's a couple of things I want to mention before I get into the video. First things first, this is the first Tekken that I have ever played, so I want to make that a point in every Tekken video I make because I know we got a lot of new people coming here, you know, for Tekken. And another thing I want to say is even though this is my first Tekken, and I've said that plenty of times, I've been posting, my rankings in the community tab of my YouTube, how I've been doing with the game. There are some people that don't believe this is my first Tekken, and not a lot of people, but, the very few haters that don't believe this is my first Tekken because I'm already almost Tekken King, even though this is my first Tekken. And like I've said, in plenty of other videos, I'm somebody who has played a lot of other fighting games. I've been the highest rank in plenty of fighting games, all the NRS games, Guilty Gear Strive, Dragon Ball Fighters, Street Fighter 6. I got like 4 master characters in that game. So I'm somebody who knows what they're talking about when it comes to fighting games because I don't just make content talking about the games, I actually play the games too. So just want to make that very clear. And I have a lot to say in this video. Another thing I want to mention, I like Tekken. Some people think off of what I say about the game because I'm keeping it real, because the Tekken community is very defensive for some reason. I like this game, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to keep it real about the game. Like, the online stuff is a joke. The game has its problems. The game has a lot of good. Playing it feels really good, and it's just a good time to play, but the game has problems. It's simple as that. I've posted videos talking about some of the problems I feel like the game has, but a lot of people think criticism is hate, and that's just not the case. I like the game, and I've said it plenty of times that I like the game. So just saying my piece about that in the first 2 minutes, because I know we're going to get some people that leave dumb messages in the comments if this video blows up, and I'm going to link them right back to the video. I'll be like, watch the first 2 minutes. So with Tekken, people are starting to turn on this game. Now, we have some random high-level gameplay in the background. We got the second best player in Tekken, Knee, playing. People say the first best is a player named Arslan, or Arslan Ash. If I'm saying his name wrong, correct me in the comments. They say he's the best Tekken player because he dominated Tekken 7. And they say you can debate it between Knee and Arslan. So, speaking of Arslan, he mentioned something that's kind of like the main topic of this video, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up what he had to say right here. Tekken 8 be like Heat Burst, Heat Smash, Power Crushes, Heat Engagers, Throws, that's it. Seriously, why did they even bother giving each character a variety of moves? Hashtag Tekken 8. And when I tell y'all this comment opened up the floodgates because we had so many people that said stuff after that. We're going to scroll up to that a little later. And I'll be posting this tweet if y'all want to read all the comments that they left. I'm going to be talking about some ones that interested me because, that's the point of this video. To talk about how people are just kind of past the honeymoon phase now in Tekken, and they're starting to express their disdain for the stuff that they don't like in the game. And with this being a 4-time Evo champion on the game, and he's probably the best Tekken player right now, since there hasn't really been tournaments to really judge that. So they can, if we go off of the legacy of the last game, then yeah, you could say he's the best overall because he is a 4-time world champion. At least that's how I see it. If, there's a lot of players that have surpassed him by now, just let me know in the comments and I'll look into them and everything. But when one of your best players says this, that's when the floodgates open up. People are starting to talk about their disdain for the game. Now, what do I personally feel like he said? Do I feel like what he said is right and everything? Yes, it's 100% right. I don't agree with the end of it, but yes, he's describing how Tekken is played. Now, this is what I don't get about Tekken, okay? People talked about Tekken like Tekken was the holy grail of fighting game. People talked about Tekken like Tekken was untouchable. It's the best, even though it's the least popular of the big three, being Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter 6, and Mortal Kombat 1, Street Fighter 6, and now we have Tekken 8. Now, that's not the case now, but overall, you know, you ask most people in the world, they're going to know Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat over Tekken. And that's just a fact. You know, some people might argue that to their blue in the face, but you can argue it. Rather how good you think the games are, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter are the more popular ones than Tekken. So I saw a lot of people talking about how good Tekken was. So I was really hyped for this game. I had a lot of high expectations for this game. I thought this game was going to be like another Street Fighter. Not how the game plays, obviously, but how good Street Fighter is. Because Street Fighter 6 is amazing. It's easily the best fighting game out right now of the modern era. Now, obviously, I ain't saying of all time, even though, you know, some people could debate that. I'm not going to get into that. Out of the big three, what I'm trying to say, Street Fighter 6 is definitely the best. And that's easy. Like, I don't think that's really debatable. But, you know, it is what it is. I've played them all quite a bit. And while I do feel like, you know, within Street Fighter 6 and, you know, Mortal Kombat, I've hit the highest rank in both of the games. I'm still not there yet in Tekken, but I think I will get there. Like I said, I took into the game pretty fast, so I don't feel like I have the right to completely judge Tekken yet, but I will say I feel like Arslan is right. I think that he is 100% right, actually. The game is very, 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 very aggressive off of what he's saying, but I don't get how people, you know, put Tekken on this pedestal like it was good as Street Fighter or something, when the game plays like a modern fighting game. Honestly, just aggression, 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 aggression. That's what the game is. Now, me personally, I don't have a problem with that, and I can make a whole video on talking about why aggression is the future. Because if we look at all the three games of the big three across the board, all the best characters for the length of the time that the game has been out, not the best right now, but who was the best the longest? If we look at MK1, it was Johnny Cage. If we look at Street Fighter 6, it's Ken. If you look at Tekken, it's Dragunov. All three of these characters across the big three games that are all not even a year old, the best character between each one, they've all been rushed down characters. So I can make a whole video talking about that alone, on why Rushdown is so good and why it's the future. But it seems like people are finally, you know, just having a problem that it's the future. So I feel like Tekken just plays like, you know, a lot of the other fighting games. It's very, 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 very aggressive, and it rewards you for being very, very, very aggressive. And I personally don't mind that at all. So I was guessing in Tekken 7 or something, it was a game that allowed some more variety within the gameplay. But off of the comments I've been seeing, that's not even the case. Let's go on to another comment here. Go ahead and scroll up. We have Sir Nature here who says, what I don't understand is they want aggression, but not defense to protect yourself from it. That's exactly right, Sir Nature. And I think your comment should have been left there, because that's it. That's what they want. They're telling, look at Heat. Tekken 8 is easily the game with the most least defensive options I've ever played. One of your main defensive options is Heat, which is your offensive option to get them off of you. So he then goes on to say they should make low parries actually be dangerous again. If you land one, I would love an extra bound. Literally everyone past Tekken King is either Reina, Victor, Orang, Jin, or I don't know if he means Devil Jin right there or Dragunov, but yeah, that's what he says about the game. And we have a whole lot more comments, but what I have to say about what he's saying is, yes, they want aggression, and you know, it's obvious. So why would they add more defensive options if they want the game to be aggressive? It's really obvious what they want. Like what I'm saying to the Tekken community, basically off of seeing all of these comments, y'all, welcome to the modern era. I don't know if y'all have caught up yet, but this is the modern era of fighting games. It's aggression, 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 aggression. Count how many times I said aggression in this video in the comments, but still, it's aggression central in y'all's game that y'all love so much, and y'all, you know, preached on so much that it was like untouchable, even though it was the least popular of the three, that, you know, it was untouchable. Well, I guess it's touchable now because it is falling in line with all the other modern fighting games. It's aggression central. And y'all can either adapt to that or y'all just gonna be on Twitter whining about it all day because they're not gonna change it. This is the future, like, of fighting games. Whether people like it or not, we are in an aggressive era, and it's simply to bring in newer players. Newer players don't care about the quirky setup character that, 5% of the community is going to play. They definitely don't want to see zoning. So this is our future. We're in an aggressive future, and you either like get used to it or play something else, because these developers are definitely not changing it. So then we go on to, we're gonna skip this one right here. We want to read that one, but he kind of gave a little satire on what he thinks the game is. But we have Let Arcade here that says, I'm glad more and more people are starting to realize this. I've said this from the beginning. T8 is the most mindless iteration of Tekken yet. It's sad because it has has the most potential to be the greatest one yet. So just more people expressing their disdain about the game. I don't see the point of saying, I've been saying this or whatever, because it's really obvious how aggressive the game is right away. I don't know if they thought that was magically going to change. They didn't magically put more defensive options in. It's all aggression. So, like I said, I get why people are bothered if Tekken 7 was a more defensive game, or even a 50-50 that allowed more stuff, allowed you to play multiple different ways. But I think the things that the Tekken 8 players are mad about, I just think it's kind of obvious. Like, you could tell all this stuff from week 1. I don't get why they're just speaking up about it now. Like, it is what it is to me. Because, like I said, I don't think Tekken 8 players, or just Tekken players, are caught up with the future of fighting games are, but it is full-on aggression. So, let's get to the last comment right here. Let's go ahead and slide this up. There we go. So, we're going to go to what Lewis said, because I think this is very important. Now, actually, what Leonis said, if I pronounced that right, he said something very important. He basically gave a little satire of what Tekken 7 was like. He's basically saying Tekken 7 had its stuff too. So, like, why are y'all complaining about this when Tekken had, low parry, rage drive, rage art, hell sweep? That's it. He's giving a satire on what Arslan said, and a lot of people are doing that in the comments below. Like, Tekken 7 had its things, but y'all weren't saying. Y'all were complaining about that when Tekken 7 was out, but y'all want to run back to it now or talk about that game was better. And he's mentioning, the irony in that. So that's something that the fighting game community does a lot. And I wish they would stop, because it looks so stupid when they do it. Like, they always go on this whole thing that, the last game was better. It doesn't matter what game. Any fighting game, they'll always try to say, the last one was better, and that's just not the case. I can't speak on Tekken 7, like I said, but for the other two of the big three, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat 11 was definitely not better than the newest Mortal Kombat by a mile, and it just wasn't. It wasn't. But people forget about all the bad when the new game comes out and only remember the good. And Street Fighter 5 was definitely not better than Street Fighter 6 at all. So let's get to the last comment. He says, I respect you a lot, but this sounds like someone having trouble adapting to the metagame. Koreans have been successful in the game because they have adapted for years regardless of the game state. Now that comment is very important, because while I wasn't sure, and now this is no offense to Arslan Ash. So while I wasn't even sure was Arslan Ash the best players, because right before I saw this tweet, a couple of days ago, before this tweet came out, I saw him do a set with somebody. And now this is no offense towards him at all, not at all. But when I was getting into Street Fighter 5, when I was getting into that game, people were talking about how Daigo was like the best player and everything, how good he is, he's going to dominate. And when I was watching Daigo in the game, when that game first came out, Street Fighter 5, he was getting bodied quite a lot. Daigo didn't end up finding his stride in the game until a couple years down the line. And this is no offense to Daigo as well. It's just what happened. He was losing a lot. Then he put the Ryu down, picked up the Guile. Took him like a year after picking up the Guile. Then he started winning. So with Arslan Ash, I feel like this could be a similar thing where, he dominated the game, he dominated the last game and everything, but he might, take a while to adapt to this game. That's why I read that Twitter post from before where he's talking about it might just be taking him a while to adapt to the meta game. And I have this picture pulled up here right before I was watching, before I was watching, making a video on this a couple of days ago. I saw this stream, Arsenal Nash was streaming, and he had just, if you can't see right here and scroll down a little bit, he got 8-0'd when he was playing like sets. Like, it wasn't the final score, but somebody was up on him 8 matches. And I've never seen somebody that people considered the best player in the world lose like 8 matches like that. Now, that either speaks on how competitive Tekken 8 is, or maybe he's really just not adjusting to the game, because I've never seen any best player in any other fighting game get 8-0'd like ever, even in casual matches. Like I said, that wasn't a final score. He ended up, getting some matches on the board, but I'm talking about how he got streaked. It was like 8-0. I was like, whoa, hold up. It's like, he actually the best, like, no offense. And it still is no offense. It might just take you a while to adjust to the new aggressive meta, and that just might be simply, what's irritating him about the game. So my final take on everything is I just think Tekken 8 is a typical modern fighting game, honestly. It's not this, how can I describe it? It's not this like ultra holy grail fine dining of fighting games like a lot of the community acted like it was going to be, and they got to accept that now, because this is the future, and I really don't think that the devs are going to do anything about it, because you see it worked, right? Aggression is the future. It's what new players are going to want to see. It's going to help them take easier to the game, and it's just a win-win at the beginning of the game's life cycle for a lot of people, and it's a good thing for their checkbook. They get a lot of new players, and new players are having fun, and you got more people to fight and everything. It's everything anybody could want out of a fighting game at the beginning of the life cycle. Keep in mind, I keep saying the beginning, but now that the honeymoon phase is over, the people that actually are going to really stick with the game and have been playing for a long time might have a problem with that. But like I was saying, they're just going to have to adapt, because this is the future of fighting games. And I don't know where the Tekken players were at when everybody else was getting used to this aggression meta in all these fighting games, but they're going to have to get used to it now. That's just what I feel about it, because I honestly don't think the devs are magically just going to add new mechanics or make this game more defensive. The best y'all are probably going to get is them maybe nerfing Heat, but I don't even see how they can nerf it. So that's just how I feel about, everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people starting to turn on the game. People are starting to, like I said, I'll link that thread on Twitter in the comments below of everybody talking about, their disdain for the game, if y'all want to see all that stuff. Because people are starting to turn on the game, but it's just normal FGC stuff. I think, the people that are really like the game, and they're going to adjust to the meta game, and if they don't, there are plenty of other options of fighting games to play, because we are in the fighting game era right now. All the big 3 came out around the same time, so if they can't adjust to this new aggression meta, kind of feel bad for them, because there's not plenty of places for you to go, even if you do try other fighting games. Like I said, for the 100th time dang near, this is the future. Aggression. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Twitch, Twitter, Patreon, Discord, all that good stuff. And Nickopz out.